Hi, and welcome to another destination, our final in the Life Path webinar journey. And this time we'll be looking at purposeful living. If you're new to the online system with goal mapping and the Life Path journey, then you can register here at www.goalmapping.com. You'll find the webinars in the gold section of the island, and each month we are covering a different area and aspect of life and success. The first webinar is about living your best life. Each webinar 1 hour long, and each webinar guiding you into creating a goal map. And the process is very simple. You watch the webinar, you create your goal map, you use that goal map for 30 days, and then you move on to the next webinar and a new goal map. And so after creating your start goal map for being your best, we then focus on the mental and how you create authentic happiness, then the emotional and feeling fantastic, then the physical and having great levels of vibrant well-being, and then on to the material and financial freedom. Last month we looked at the social and creating harmonious relationships, and this time round we're looking at the spiritual and living with a sense of purpose. By creating a goal map each month, and here are some of mine, it helps you to take the key points from each life area and gradually integrate them into your own beliefs and attitudes and habit patterns. By looking at the map once a day for 30 days, it helps you to form the brain cell connections that in turn become beliefs and then command your subconscious mind to move you towards the goal. There are a lot of key principles in all of the webinars we've looked at, but if there is one key principle that really stands out above all of the rest, it's creating the balance between our left logical brain and our right emotional brain. The brain is in two halves. The right side of the brain is more the leadership brain. It has the gift of imagination and looks forwards. The left side of the brain is more the manager brain. It's good at logic and it tends to focus on details. In recent times, a number of people have contacted me asking questions about this principle because I've been teaching it more than 20 years, and in recent times, new scientific discoveries have started to understand that the brain is so very complex, and actually each side of the brain is doing a lot of things, and it's not as clear cut as all of the logical things happening on the left brain and all of the emotional things and imaginative things happening on the right brain. Now, science continues to make new discoveries about which part of the brain does which, and often the new discoveries overturn old ideas. However, fundamental principle remains the same. And the fundamental principle here is that we do think in both words and pictures. We do have both right brain qualities such as imagination, creativity, intuition, flow, and we have left brain qualities of logic and strategy and planning and focusing on detail. It's when we find the interactive balance between these two sets of qualities that we are absolutely at our best. And you can look back throughout history and see the truth of this principle lived in some of the greatest people that have ever walked the planet. People like Leonardo da Vinci, equally brilliant with his right brain in paintings such as the Mona Lisa, equally brilliant with his left brain. He was the man that invented, really, technical drawing. Even Leonardo da Vinci's working notes are a combination of words and pictures side by side on the same page. And we see it again and again. Einstein famously said, imagination is more important than logic. This principle holds true for all. The more we find our balance between our right brain qualities and our left brain qualities, the more effective we are. Our right brain allows us to have a good vision of the future, of where we want to go. Vision on its own, ideas on their own, creativity on their own are really limited unless we're also able to work with our left brain and form a strategy. And vice versa. There is no point having a strategy if we don't know where we want to go. The right brain is free-flowing. It thinks in many different directions. The left brain tends to focus on detail and often looks backwards through our past experiences, so we can learn lessons from our past and apply them to the present and obviously plan for the future. And it's this balance between the two, and it's not a static balance, not like a set of scales. It's an interactive balance. Have the vision, formulate the plan, get a good picture of where you want to go, start to follow the strategy. Perhaps the most exciting area and new research into the brain is neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity shows that when we set a goal, it stimulates our brain cells to make new connections. And in that process, we also release chemicals from our brain that give us new feelings. Those feelings start to show up as attitudes and empower our behavior that help us move towards the physical achievement of the goal. It's the goal that stimulates the connections between the brain cells. When we think a positive thought, the positive impulse starts in the middle of the brain cell. It travels out along the brain cell arms, they're called dendrites, and it releases a chemical into our brain called serotonin. Serotonin is the chemical that gives us the feeling of happiness and well-being. It is also the chemical that helps to form connections in the brain between the brain cells so that our thought impulse continues on its journey and we form this positive connection between brain cells. It's this connecting of brain cells in this way that helps us to find answers to problems. It's the connecting of brain cells like this that helps us to birth new ideas. As we form more and more connections, we're able to activate, access, use more of our brain. Therefore, if you think you can, you probably will, because you start to release the chemicals in your brain that help you make the connections, find the idea, and also find the feel-good motivation to face your challenge, take your new idea, take a brave step forward, and move towards the achievement of your goals, to live your dream. If, however, the thought you have is negative in its nature, then the negative impulse in the brain is releasing a different chemical, cortisol. Cortisol is the chemical that gives us the feeling of sadness and depression. It's also a neuroinhibitor. So the more negative we become, actually the more our brain starts to shut down. It focuses on the problem, and the problem looks bigger and bigger and bigger. And the release of the cortisol also makes us feel sad and unmotivated. Setting a goal helps us to maintain the brain cell connections. And when we first have a new idea, often the connection is breaking apart again. But if we repeat the goal over and over for, say, 30 days, gradually we start to form the brain cell connections. The connection becomes established, and the established connection then forms a belief. The belief is a command to our subconscious mind about what it is we desire. It gradually moves us towards the achievement of the goal. The right brain thinking in pictures and the left brain thinking in words, the fundamental principle here is by using both, it helps us to be at our best, regardless of which side or which part of the brain they may come from. Goal mapping has reached more than 4 million people around the world over the last 20 years, helping organizations and helping schools and helping sports people and helping people with their fitness and well-being. It's helping people in every area of life. And the reason it's spread to so many people is because it works incredibly well. The reason it works so well is this special balanced combination of words and pictures. And if you're new to goal mapping, let me quickly show you. There are 7 steps. And the first step is get clear about what it is you want to achieve. Use your right brain imagination. Look forwards into your future. Define your dream of where you want to go, what you want to do, who you choose to be. And get that down on paper in both words for the left brain so you can be clear and precise, and also imagery for the right brain, because it's through the right side of our brain that we really command our subconscious. The subconscious mind is enormously powerful, and it follows the commands of the conscious mind. Whatever we think about consciously becomes a command for our subconscious. When we have our thoughts in pictures, it's commanding the subconscious with great power. Once we know what we want, then it's important to work out why. What are your motivating reasons? This is where the power comes from. Your strongest emotional reasons become great motivators. Why do you want to achieve your goal? Then in the next step, when? Because if we don't give a date, it's not really a goal. It's a wish that maybe we will get round to someday. And so we choose a start date and we choose an achievement date. And then in step 6, how? What are the major actions you will need to take that will help you move along the path towards the achievement of your goal? And then finally, step 7, who? Whose help would you like? Whose help do you desire or require? Sometimes it's an individual, sometimes it could be a team, sometimes it can simply be a resource, such as a book that you read. These 7 steps of what do you want and what's the priority and why do you want it, when and how and who, are the key aspects of conscious achievement. Goal mapping guides you through the process of asking those questions and capturing your answers in both words and pictures, so that it helps to activate the whole of your brain and thereby be at your best and command your subconscious to move you towards the achievement of your dreams. So let's explore the key points of purposeful living.